The title of this video should not at all be surprising to anyone anymore, to be honest. Like, there should be a degree of shock value with, like, I don't know, communists. Like, if you're just a fucking loser, you know, this sounds bad to you. But I personally don't know a lot of people who don't think that if you came to this country illegally that you should immediately be deported. Now, I'm not soloing a hard mission. I do need to farm super credits, so that's what I'm going to be doing in the background of this video. But
Mission preparation aborted.
so if I trail off, that's why. It's not because the audio is pre-recorded. It's just because I'm ranting while I'm doing this. So if I do something stupid in the game, or if I trail off, it's just because, you know, I don't pre-record audio. This should be. I'm gonna argue. Not argue. Good God. Sorry. It's like 9 in the morning when I'm doing this. It's the entire South, including like, Virginia's not southern, but still, including Virginia, is just covered in snow right now. But it's at a point where I'm not going to school, but both of my parents are going to work. So, yeah, that's, and I'll talk about them a little bit in my videos, because to be honest, I do get a lot of my politics from my dad. I kind of identify more with him than a lot of people I know. Usually I do identify more with older people than me, just because of the area I've grown up in, and because of the parents I have. It's just like I just don't identify great with Hicks, to be completely honest. And I know that's like a weird thing to say now. I don't think a lot of people really do call other people that, you know. But to be honest, that is just kind of the word, you know. I don't feel like there's a better way of putting it. I digress. There's just... Good lord, I need to find a better way of doing this, because I really cannot focus on what I'm saying while also doing this, but at the same time, I can't really find a great medium to talk about this kind of thing without losing the attention of people like me. To be completely honest, I would not watch something like this if there wasn't something behind it, because I'm a brain-rotted, like, little kid. Like, it should be depressing. If you're listening to this and you think that's depressing, it should be. You should agree. It's genuine. It's why I want to join the military or something like that. Fuck it.
The fires of their forges are
I
nothing
didn't
compared
bring,
to the freedom in your hearts.
an exosuit. Okay, well, that's fucking great. Okay. I'll do that next. God damn it, I forgot what I was talking about.
Deploying support weapon. Sending down equipment package.
Anyway. So, I will say on my own behalf that given that I don't really have, as a straight white Christian male, I don't have a great future in this nation, you know? I think someone might be coming downstairs. I don't know who that could be. Might be my brother. No? Okay. No, I'm going the wrong way. Guess no one's coming downstairs. But, I don't have a great future, right? Let's say Trump does what he said he was going to do. Remember, it's only the first year of his presidency. We don't know how everything's going to go. Things could have just been slow this year, right? Now, I don't have a lot of faith in that, given that he hasn't really done much this year. Especially since after the killing of Freddie, whatever his name is, I want to say his first name is Alex, but I genuinely don't know his first name. Well, I feel like I do know his first name, I just forget it at the moment. And by the way, I don't think you should bet that you will come out of a protest alive if you intend to antagonize federal agents with a gun on you. Like, if they get you on the ground and they see that you have a gun and it's a SIG P320, so it just goes off, then they're gonna kill you. Like, nigga, I would. Like, I would. I know I would. So fast. Like, if I was a federal agent and I knew you had a gun on you and I didn't see the dude who took the gun off of you, right? Because I don't think those agents noticed that the another agent had taken the gun off them. And if they did, I mean, it was the heat of the moment, you know? Also, personally, I would have joined ICE to shoot people like him too, so I would have taken the opportunity. But, I digress. I just feel like it was mostly justified. Do I think his murder was justified? No, I don't think anyone should die over something like that. But I do completely understand why he's dead, right? Like, I see that it was a very stupid decision on his part. But, anyway.
Found something.
I don't really have a great future in this nation, and people like me don't. Let's say Trump doesn't really do as much as he's been saying he's gonna do. I mean, there's a lot of conservative grifters in his administration, right? I doubt a lot of the people in his administration are genuine, like, conservatives. I don't think a lot of them are, I don't think a lot of them really believe in their talking points. It looks like something's glowing back there. And given that, I'm gonna say they are just gonna be, you know, your standard, your standard Republican government, right? Like, they've made their promises, but they're not really gonna follow through with a lot of them. Now, and I get that, right? I get that with America's political climate, given that we are kind of split down the middle as a nation, that, you know, it makes pretty good sense to me to not follow through with a lot of that, given that most of the nation, or not most of it, but a large part of the nation isn't in favor of it. However, they should be. They really should be. And a lot of them are just, like, stupid for not being in favor of some of these things. Like, for instance, mass deportations, right? And this is what I'm getting to. I have always been into engineering. I'm, like, barely above average when it comes to math and things like that, but I do have a very logical mind. I am more politically minded than anything, which is why I'm doing this.
Warning, you are leaving the
What the hell?
mission
Okay.
area.
I am more politically minded than anything, right? But
Something.
the field of engineering has always seemed interesting to me, but more recently has seemed like a more safe profession to me, because unlike, you know, the sciences, unlike the medical field, it's way harder to infiltrate it or to infect it with DEI policy, right? Because you need a merit-based, and this is why I'm skeptical of putting AI, of the use of AI. It's obviously a great thing, it's just that we might not be implementing it in the right way to truly benefit the market. Another one. But, I think that's it, right? That's probably it. Oh wait, what's that? I know exactly what that is. It's been there, huh? Yeah, I've been there, okay. Anyway. The field of engineering has seemed safe to me for a very long time, but with H-1B visas and the implementation of AI in a way that I'm not very comfortable with,
enemies march ever closer.
I, just like in a lot of other cases, could very easily be replaced by mutts, or blacks, or chinks, or Indians,
and show them the light of liberty. Select an
very
operation.
easily. And with the Chinese, I get it, right? With the Chinese, I get it. It's just because they are better. They are better at those things than I am, and your average white dude is, right?
Allied
But it's
destroyer
like
coordinates received.
with Indians, they're basic with Indian H-1B visas. A lot of times it is simply.
Allied destroyer has joined
Wait a
squadron.
minute.
Engaging orbital thrusters.
Did they kick me out? They should have kicked me. I hope they kicked me out. Okay. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to join up with other people kicked from the game. Okay, that's good. I didn't mean to join someone else's game.
Innocents perish with every wasted second. We must act.
But it is this glorified version of slave labor when it comes to H-1B visas, and as a result of that, let's say I with my 3.6 GPA. Now I am in the 9th grade going on 10th grade, right? I'm a freshman. But I feel like that I am more qualified for an engineering position, or like, one second. I don't even need a machine gun. I bring a machine gun for no reason. Because I use grenades on those doors anyway. It's not like I'm really trying to do this very quickly. But it's like I am competing with slaves, right? I'm competing with imported slave labor. Maybe I'll bring this for fun. Or like, bad in case I need it. But
Launch initiated.
I don't think anyone should have to compete with that, to be completely honest. But what I'm going to have to compete with when I go into the workforce is going to be DEI policy that the government has failed to really get rid of, and it still exists, and it's not looking great, to be honest. And it's an island. Okay, that's great. That's really great. See, there might still be good stuff on this map. There might still be good stuff on this map. But usually with islands, it's like there's barely anything, I swear. Oh, well, I might be wrong. You see that in the background? Anyway.
Sending down equipment package.
I'm gonna be competing with companies, with state-funded companies, mind you, not homegrown companies, not companies that are funded by on their own, right? Not by the government, by their shareholders and everything. One second. So not companies that function in the interest of the market, and by extension in my interest, right? Instead, companies that function entirely in their own interests and in political interests. Oh, look at that. that really don't have anything to do with me, right? And that's another thing. We aren't really draining the swamp, really. There's not a lot we've done in terms of getting rid of the people who hate my race and hate my god. Like, seriously. There isn't really a lot we've done. Now, I will say that it's only been a year. But you can still do a lot in a year. And that's the back point. Alright. There's a home down there. It's just... things aren't looking good for people like me, right? And I want you to tell me what happens when you have an entire, like, population of the most important people to a nation, or the people who should be the most important to the nation. Straight, white, young, working class men who can barely even get entry-level positions, right? Like, who aren't really, gonna be offered those positions because they're straight and they're white and they're Christian. And especially that they're men. I've noticed that more and more recently. Especially in my home state, my beautiful state, honestly, what I would consider to be the best state in the fucking Union, Virginia, being turned into a Marxist hellhole by the most federal-looking woman I've ever seen in my entire fucking life, in an election that was entirely swayed by the vote of Nova. And this is sort of a side tangent, but I swear, if we gave Washington State, or well, no, not Washington State, if we gave Washington, D.C. statehood and offered it Northern Virginia, like offered it Fairfax and Alexandria and that general heavily populated area of Northern Virginia, they're all socialist too. I've been up there, it's bullshit, right? But and they decide how my fucking state works too. I hate it so much. And you can ask damn near anyone around here, right? It's like, it's minority rule. To be completely honest, it's minority rule in a democracy that should be. It's just that Virginians aren't in favor of it, right? Virginians, real Virginians, not Nova faggots and socialist politicians and statists. Real Virginians aren't in favor of it. And if we got rid of Nova, let's say Washington, D.C. gained statehood, sure, they would have 2 senators. Sure, they would have, like, a representative or 2. But that would pale in comparison to the political power a red Virginia would have. Like, a Republican Virginia. Right? And they would be happy with that, too. Both sides would be happy. We would just have more power, and they wouldn't really realize it for the most part. Well, they would realize it. It's not what they would care about, right?
This operation.
Mission coordinates locked.
I guess the more intelligent among them would care.
Pods prime.
But it really depends.
Engaging orbital thrusters.
Now, if we don't add another star to the flag, I think it would be hilarious, right? Like, we don't even count them. But,
synchronized.
I digress. But that would allow us to change up the flag a little bit, make it look a little cooler. 1 second. Don't know why I keep getting the machine gun. Really don't. Anyway.
Launch initiated.
So, yeah. Yeah. And a lot of them are illegal immigrants, too. It's a mix of college of like mostly UVA educated, right? My dad works at well no, 1 second. Give me a minute. UVA.
Let them come. Let them
I,
roar.
it really is kind of depressing. It should be, in terms of politics, a Jeffersonian kind of institution, right? Should be conservative. It should be, in a manner of speaking, traditionalist. It should be. Once again, I really wish I had a better way of making this. I'll figure it out eventually. Eventually, I'll be like writing scripts and reciting it, and well, not reciting, like writing. So okay. Are we this good at making textiles that the entire body decomposed and he still has clothes on? I mean, that's not even really a complaint about game design. That is just genuinely impressive. And that man had some strong bones too. Goodness gracious. Wow. That's impressive. That really is impressive. Anyway. What am I looking for? Okay. Wow, I didn't drop anything down. Right.
Sending down equipment package.
But it's like, Nova is just, it's illegal migrants making up the bulk of the population. And then on top of the illegal migrants, it's like college-educated gay people and blonde cat women that like hate America or something. Like the policy that you really have to be looking into this if you're anywhere else in the Union, because this should concern you. What has happened to Virginia? It's it's going to be gerrymandered as shit. If you've noticed what they're trying to press onto us, it's like tentacles down from Nova into the rest of the state, and they can't really do anything about southwestern Virginia. But for people like me who don't live in southwestern Virginia, right, it fucking sucks. it just sucks, because now I will, unless, well, to be fair, the college I'm thinking of going to, if I end up going, I probably will, but I don't really live in I don't have the wealthiest family. So say I get a scholarship, I'd love to go to LU. I'd love to go to Liberty University. Sounds like a great campus, sounds like a great place for people like me. And it sounds like the least likely university I would face discrimination for being a conservative, straight white Christian, you know? My grandma lives down there, and she, anytime I visit her, it's just a great community among the young people, among the, like, college-age people there. Because really, they are all very faithfully Christian, and they are all, yeah, look at this. They're all very faithful people, they're all very good people, they're all very disciplined people, to be honest. You don't really see a lot of fat people. Like, a lot of them are just generally good people. And the gyms are full. Like, these are good, disciplined people that you don't really find in many other places. With like the cutest couples everywhere, the nicest music. Now I listen to a lot of metal, right? I don't really listen to the kind of music they like to play. And when I do go to church, well, every Sunday, you know, when we go to church, the music I do like to hear is the more traditional stuff. Like it just sounds more holy to me. It's a lot sweeter to me. It's a lot less repetitive. The lyrics are a little more creative, and they hit a little harder, right? How is there grass growing here? That's seriously impressive to me. Like seriously, that really is. I mean, life finds a way, man. Like that's crazy. It's outstanding. I digress. God damn it! What was I talking about? Oh my god. All right. It just sounds like it's a great campus, right? But the rest of the universities in Virginia are pretty degenerate. Like there's James Madison University is an easy second to Liberty University, and it's still pretty bad. Like it's still just not good. I wouldn't want to go there. Simply like not because of the opportunities, right? When we're talking about opportunities, I would go to like JMU or UVA or any of these other great, extremely prestigious universities, right? That a lot of people go to. Like they're the southeast equivalent to like the Ivy League schools, right? It's just that I am not who they want. A white nationalist like me. And I don't know why I say white nationalist. I'm a nationalist who happens to be white. White nationalist means something a little different. I guess a better term would be Christian nationalist. But in all fairness, and I'll touch on my thoughts on race in America, because I do think that Europe shouldn't be open to third world migrants, right? It shouldn't be a paradise for Muslims and African and degenerates, you know? But America's different. Now, the thing about America is that I don't really think when the founding fathers said you have a freedom of religion, I don't think they meant
Coordinates locked.
you have I don't think they meant they were protecting Jews or Muslims. Now, did they want violence against Jews or Muslims? No. Do I want violence against Jews or Muslims? No, of course not. But I don't really like them.
Orbit
Now,
synchronized.
to me, the Jews are a little better than the Muslims. And that's why my opinions on Israel are like, sure, okay, I don't really like Israel that much. I don't like the Jews that much. But the problem is, at least they're not barbarians, right? At least they're not literal fucking barbarians. And maybe I don't value the lives of Gazans, right? Because if I value if I value the lives of Gazans, that immediately means I value the lives of civilized people less. Because that means I am okay with these people. If I'm okay with these people living, that means inevitably they will just go around murdering civilized people, right? And I feel like there's a better way to handle the situation. But to be honest, when I say there is a better way to handle the situation in Gaza, what I literally mean is just more bombing and more like... I don't really think they need boots on the only real reason why they're risking Israeli lives with putting boots on the ground is because oh, fuck. 1 second. And I haven't, by the way, I haven't received my $7,000 by saying this yet, but if the Mossad is listening to me, I will take that $7,000. Like, my family would do great with that money, okay? Like, it would be a great help if I could get $7,000 for glazing your country. But I'm not doing, to be honest, I know I was talking about something completely different, and now I'm talking about Israel. There we go. Okay. Oh my god. Just medals. Okay. But still, I'll talk about Israel more in a different video. But I do think they are scrutinized more than they should be. Seriously, like, I feel like Muslims and Islam in general is just a terrible thing for Western society and culture, and we should prioritize getting rid of the threat of Islam more than we should prioritize hating the Jews. Because really, I know a few now in rural Virginia, it is mostly just black and white. Like it's the better part of the black community and some of the worse of the white community, and then like, but to be honest, you don't really get a lot of the worst part of the white community because they stick to themselves, right? There's not really a lot they do against each other or against us. They mostly hurt themselves, and they stick in their own communities. And if you were a Virginian, you know where those are. Matter of fact, some of them are on my street. And honestly, my street's pretty strange, and it's a pretty good example of what parts of Virginia are like. But because like parts of it, it's like there's been meth dealers there for a billion years. Other parts, the best people you'll ever fucking meet, and they live in two-story houses, and it looks like a gated community, and they have like 3 kids and a dog, and the dad works in like IT or something. And then like just maybe 100 feet down the road, it's like Methville. Like it seriously looks like Resident Evil. Like fucking seriously, it looks like Resident Evil. But anyway. Virginia, well, not, I don't know why I keep talking about Virginia. Well, because it's a great example of what the nation's going to be like. And parts of it I like, parts of it I don't like. But it's that these minority communities, and they should be considered minority communities because they really don't share the same values as the majority of America. They're these groups of educated people importing illegal migrants into their cities in these prestigious university towns where they live in a separate area from those illegal migrants because the smelly brown people that they imported, they don't want to be around them. And so we have to be around them, right? Us working individuals, we have to be around these people that we didn't vote to import. And that we don't need, that we literally do not need. And that are entirely a detriment to America. Like, stop importing Indian slaves. The last time we imported slaves, it was a terrible thing for America for a very long time. And I don't mean that in a gay racial injustice way. I mean that in like, I just don't want. Oh, was that? Okay, my fault. I mean that in a way that it destroyed American white culture, Like, we could have been the perfect European, right? Because you're filtering out the most heroic and the pioneers of the European peoples, and you're straining mostly Protestants, mostly European Protestants with great value towards religion and education and things like that, and the first people who believed in Greek republicanism, and figures like Jefferson and all these great political figures that I feel like are only really rivaled by like Aristotle, especially given that the God-shaped hole in like pagan philosophy is filled with Jefferson and people like them, and people like him. I don't think anything's over there. I think I need to go over there. I'll just end this. But it's like I just What the hell? Okay. So, back to the actual point of the video, because I keep trailing off. I want you to tell me what happens when you have an entire generation of young, straight white Christian men who should be the working backbone of the nation,
This operation
who don't have a spouse, who don't have a home, who live in a 600 square foot apartment that they can barely afford to furnish, living like cattle, eating slop all day, right? Watching slop.
Orbit.
Intended to be content with, like, football and pornography and whatever else the state forces upon them, right? To make them subservient.
Hellpod launch initiated.
And what happens when they can barely afford their rent, right? They're barely getting into an entry-level position that they're not even wanted in. And they're not even really going to stay there for long, because they're eventually going to get replaced by an Indian slave. Or by a low IQ black woman who was chosen because she was a black woman with dyed hair. And she said she was disabled. What happens then? Like, when you just have this entire generation of entirely disaffected young men who really don't feel like they have anything to live for, who every year are pushed further away from their families, who don't really have any family of their own. Like, they don't have a wife, and if they do, the wife probably won't want to have children. And if both of you want to have children, good fucking luck. Because you live in a 600 square foot apartment like cattle, and you can barely afford to feed yourselves. Especially and all of that, especially in a political climate that's increasingly becoming nationalists versus socialists. And that's never a good thing. Those are the most violent two groups of people, politically speaking, other than, like, you know, revolutionary communists, Islamic extremists, people like that. And then in an economy where their rent is double the expense of what a standard service rifle would be, and ammunition and the magazines for feeding those weapons are both a lot cheaper than your food. I do feel like you're walking into something that not a lot of people are going to walk out of, right? That's at the very least a lot more political assassinations. That's at the very least a lot more politically motivated murders. That is at the very least some sort of insurgency or neo-militia movement that could very easily result in more policy against the Second Amendment and against your liberties, especially as a white person. And what that basically means is the more you strip from these people, the worse it's going to get for the country. And the way I see it is it would probably not be dissimilar from something like the IRA, right? You have a government that's detached from the majority population of the area. And you have this small group of that majority of the population who is trying to fight back, who are trying to fight back, but they really can't. They barely can. And then when they finally do anything, the government cracks down worse than ever. But what's that going to do? That's going to radicalize more young, straight, white Christian people. Christian men, especially. To take up arms and to shoot feds.
There's something here. Fire in the hole.
And then that's just going to keep... That's just going to keep getting worse. It's going to keep getting worse. Until eventually you have a nationalist, an ethno-nationalist insurgency that hates the nation, and eventually one that the majority of the American population is in favor of. Eventually, that becomes the popular opinion, and when the popular opinion is completely and violently against the government, that's when you get something like a civil war. Do I think it would escalate into a real civil conflict? No, I don't think it would be a civil war like we've seen before. But I do think it'd be a lot more violence, but it'd be more like gang violence, you know? It'd be people who know whose side they're on and who know other people on whose side they're on, who occasionally just shoot each other, who occasionally just like murder each other.
Sub-objective in your vicinity.
And there's just a point, you know? There's a point of no return that you eventually get to. And, I mean, the game I'm playing right now, it kind of shows the next point I'm gonna get to. This is especially with the generation we're talking about, right? That has been taught since they were very little that they're gonna be fighting the big one. I remember in the first grade, in the back of my mind, it's like, oh, I'm gonna be fighting a war one day, this isn't gonna matter, right? It's just like, I don't know why I'm doing the actual mission part of this, I just think it's fun. But,
Hellbomb request approved. Deploying now.
anyway. What was I gonna say? These are people who want to fight, and I've seen, like, there's this guy I'm subscribed to on YouTube, right, who volunteered in Ukraine. I forget, one second, if I pull him up on my phone, I might be able to find him. But he volunteered in Ukraine and he wasn't really posting for a long time. And the first video he posts when he comes back is a video titled, "I fucking love war." It's something along those lines. And that really made me think, like, okay, in history, like most people who come back from war in all human history say they hate it, right? But the people who say they enjoyed it, which is a minority, right? It's a very small number of the people you'll find.
Coordinates locked. Hellpod
It's-
Prime. Engaging orbital thrusters.
It's a very small number of people you'll find, right?
Orbit synchronized.
The people who really love war, are the people who had nothing to fight for, who had nothing to live for, right? Who, when they got home, didn't really have anything else. So what mattered if they died? So who cares if they die, right? And they'll say it's the best thing that ever happened to them because they were probably depressed before they were fighting, right? They were, they didn't really have a family, they didn't have a home, they didn't have a job where they had any purpose. They didn't really care much about their nation, but a lot of times they cared about the promise of all of that. And that's when they love war, and that is especially when they love war. Those are the kind of people who fight once and then volunteer in several other civil wars and smaller conflicts just because they're addicted to it. Those are the people who fucking love war. Give me a sec.
This is it. This is the song
And what's a better explanation of Gen Z,
defend democracy
of my generation, right,
at any cost.
than people who won't really have much to live for, and people who, as adults, don't really have anything to live for, right? They have their family and a small group of friends that they're slowly drifting away from, and they're not really drifting into anything else, right? They simply
There's something here.
exist, especially in a state that is attempting to make their existence superfluous, right? That is trying to render them useless. And for what? Really? For what? Like, to me, what else could that be other than the... Oh no? Okay. than the goal of an extermination of the race, right? And I hate that so much. I hate that thought. It's probably me just being a schizophrenic.
Nearby.
But what else could it be if you're rendering an entire race superfluous? And that's in large part why I hate why I'm in favor of mass deportation and mass deportations. That's why, in large part, I'm in favor of even some legal migrants being deported. Because otherwise, what is America going to be? And that all probably sounded extremely like, I don't know, I probably sounded like a dumbass talking about that because I couldn't focus on what I was actually saying. I swear the quality of these videos will get better. Just wait, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Watch the next one if I have one out. And if I don't, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's it. See ya.